So we've got the recording, and it will be in its entirety. Nobody else is going to be recording. And nobody in this room has permission to like cut and paste or use what they want. It's all or nothing, right? We're not editing to like slash our competition or talk trash. We just want the truth here. We're here for the truth. So here's my statement. The League of Women Voters, tonight's sponsors and participants have not authorized any video or audio recordings of this forum other than repeat television broadcasts provided by the local government of education or authorized people. If any recordings are made by any member of the audience, we strongly urge that the forum be recorded in its entirety and not be edited in any way. The FCC requires that videotape of the debate or forum not be edited and must be broadcast in its entirety, either live or reasonably soon after it takes place. Both the FCC and the League want to ensure that information is not manipulated to create false or misleading impressions. Therefore, no candidate is allowed to use or edit footage for campaign purposes. Okay? All right. On that note, are we ready to begin for real? Okay. So James Cho drew the first card, so he'll get 2 minutes, followed by Hilda Sugarman, followed by Leonel Talavera, followed by Vanessa Estrella. And after each candidate has done their 2-minute introduction, we'll get to the questions, okay? All right. James.
Good evening, everyone. My name is James Cho, and I'm running for Fullerton School District Trustee Area 2. So if you live next to Fern Drive, the Muck, all the way up to Laguna Road, Sunset Lane, Fistler, Parks Junior High, I'm your homegrown candidate. I'm also an Air Force Reserve Lieutenant Colonel. I'm a Sunset Lane parent, but more importantly, I'm a Sunset Lane kid. I'm a Laguna Road kid. I'm a Parks Junior High kid. I'm a Sunny Hills kid. I am a product of Fullerton schools. And a little bit of background about me is that, like many Korean families, so if you've lived in Fullerton for a long time, you know the city has changed. And it changed a lot in the 80s and 90s and the early 2000s. Like many Korean families, we moved here for the reputation for Fullerton schools. I learned that English is the language that everyone else seems to speak outside of Koreatown, so I learned how to speak English at Sunset Lane. Eventually, I made my way over to Laguna Road to the GATE program, Parks Junior High, survived puberty there. Went to Sunny Hills, where I became a decent swimmer, I guess, and went not too far away at UC Irvine. But after UC Irvine, I joined the military as a second lieutenant, deploying to places like Afghanistan and the Horn of Africa. And like many wayward men who don't know what they want to do in life, I went to law school thinking I was going to become a lawyer. That lasted all of 2 minutes because I missed the sense of purpose that it had in the military. So I went back to the military, eventually falling in love with a woman who wouldn't let me come back home because she got a job in DC, but I was glad to follow her to support her career there. In DC, I fought to strengthen and expand veteran health care benefits. So if you know a Vietnam-era veteran with hypertension, or you know a post-9/11 veteran like me that suffered injuries through burn pits, that was through that work on Capitol Hill. But when I moved back home, when I had my first kid, that's when I realized that I need to get more involved in public education. My son is the reason why I'm running for school board. I think it's time that we have a parent going through the system now to be on the school board to represent a changing city. So thank you, and I look forward to your question this evening.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
I'm Hilda Sugarman, a current member of the Board of Trustees. It's important for the board to represent the diverse voices of our community in order to make informed decisions for our school district. With my background as a former teacher and a PTA person, I have gained valuable insights into education. Having served on the Fullerton School Board for over 20 years, I contribute academic focus, innovation, and institutional knowledge to our discussions. Throughout my tenure, I visit every school, every classroom, and department in the district each year. This practice enables me to gain insights into our programs and recognize the unique attributes of each site. The relationships I've developed with employees and families, along with my understanding of each school, provide me with a valuable perspective for the board. The district has received recognition for its commitment to academics, innovation, health, and safety. I actively seek to identify areas that require support. For example, I founded and served as the president of the Fullerton Education Foundation for 18 years. Currently, some of our work funds teacher grants, supports Science Camp, and funds the Tiny Home Project. Additionally, I established the Sunny Hills Parent Organization and initiated Sunny Hills International Day. Fullerton has consistently been recognized as the best school district in North Orange County, and I take pride in being part of that achievement. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Leonel Talavera. I've been a trustee for the last 4 years and currently serving as your board president this year. My background, I grew up in San Gabriel Valley, moved to Fullerton, again, specifically for it being an education city. Again, with that awesome elementary school district, amazing high school district, junior college, community college, university with Catchment, and then it also had a law school here that soon went somewhere else. But what brought me to Orange County was I was working for Chalk Children's as a community health worker all throughout Orange County, from San Juan to San Clemente, all the way up to the city of La Habra, Westminster, and even Costa Mesa. The work that I did there kind of really intrigued me and brought the passion of outreach and engagement to me. And then soon enough, I started working with Habitat for Humanity here in South Fullerton for the last 8 years. And there, I was able to raise over $500,000 for a lot of programs and a lot of projects that we did out in the community, specifically renovating one of the old multi-purpose rooms at Woodcrest Elementary, and then also bringing emergency supplies to the Woodcrest residents, along with the community garden and other elements like little libraries that we implemented throughout the neighborhood in South Fullerton. For me, I worked really closely with in public safety with the police department and making sure that community and police relations were strong, where we saw a great impact on that. Also, my sister's a dual immersion teacher in West Covina Unified, so I surround myself with educators outside of the district that provide a lot of great insight to the work that I do here at FSD. So thank you.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
Hello, everyone. My name is Vanessa Estrella, and I'm running for Fullerton Elementary School Board because I believe every child deserves a high-quality education, no matter their background, and because Area 5 needs new proactive leadership. I grew up attending public schools as an English language learner from a low-income household, and I understand the challenges many of our students and families face, and our families are not being listened to. My journey taught me the power of perseverance and importance in a strong support system. My roots in Fullerton run deep. My husband and I met here in Fullerton College 24 years ago. I graduated with honors in the double bachelor's from Cal State Fullerton in business administration and in criminal justice, paid for with scholarships. We have built our lives here and have raised our two brilliant daughters, Hilda Estrella and Hilda Estrella, who are 8 and 13, respectively. We have lived here in the south of Fullerton for the last 24 years. Together, we run our family business, El Pachuco Zoot Suits, who's been a staple here in the south of Fullerton for the last 46 years. Being a mother has fueled my passion for community involvement. As a parent of 2 children enrolled in the district's dual language program, one of whom has an individual education plan, I am deeply invested in the success and well-being of our schools. My service as a PTA member and ELAC, English Language Advisory Committee President at Raymond Elementary, as well as the district's ELAC President, in attending school board meetings has provided me with firsthand understanding of our school's needs and challenges. And it's because of this leadership position that it has become clear to me that the current trustee has done nothing to address the persistent issues on South Fullerton. I will work to ensure every child has equal opportunities and access to the resources, programs, and initiatives that both our students and teachers need. Thank you.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, so we're now going into the questions segment, and as a reminder, each candidate has 1 minute to answer. They don't have to use their whole minute, and we'll do round robin. So James will start first, and on the next round of questions, Hilda will go next. So the first one's a softball, just as a warm-up, because I'm not nice. Ready? Okay. These are all coming from the audience, remember, this isn't me. If elected, are you going to have office hours?
Yes. I think the important thing here is that as a working parent, I understand that a lot of the schedules that we have for PTA and foundations don't work. A lot of PTA meetings are at 8:45 in the morning. I'm already at work at 8:45 in the morning. So if you can't make it to a PTA meeting, if you can't make it to a foundation meeting, message me on Instagram, send me an email. I'll meet you for coffee in the afternoon, evening, weekends. I'll have office hours.
Thank you. Hilda?
Thank you. I think that a person should always be accessible to the community. And I do listen, and then I try to solve problems or help people. And I just answer emails, I answer texts, I phone people back. I usually phone them and don't use a text or an email because I like hearing their voice. And I hope to guide them to a better resolution of whatever their issue is, or just to talk about what's going on. So it's not really what I think is a scheduled office hour. It's a 24, 7 days a week, every day response to people who have issues or concerns. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
So it's kind of cliche to say you have office hours, because I think as an elected official, as wearing that part of that role is to be able to be accessible 24 hours a day. Whenever someone sends you an email or gives you a call. Again, the work that I did in South Fullerton, everyone had my cell phone number. Everyone had a way to reach me, either via text, via giving me a call. I always tell them, call me twice, and I know it's really important to get back to you. Call me once, and I just know you're thinking about giving me a call about something. But also being accessible via email to be able to answer any questions or any thoughts that people might have. But again, as a working individual, it's really hard to be able to make a lot of the early morning meetings, but always being accessible till the wee nights of the afternoon as well too.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
In response to the PTA meetings being in the morning, some schools have actually rotated. Some schools have early morning PTA meetings as well as evening PTA meetings, just to be able to help the parents that work late. Just wanted to put that out there in case they didn't know. I agree 100% in being accessible 24/7. That is why right now, even now, as I am canvassing, I have business cards with my cell phone number that I am giving people that I'm speaking to, because I believe they have any questions, they should be able to reach us 24/7 and be able to contact us for whatever we need. But I'm also an advocate of attending ELAC meetings, PTA meetings, Champion for Children, if available and if possible. I'm not saying we have to, but if we are available, I believe that makes it a lot easier for our constituents in our community to be able to reach out to us and talk to us. But if an office was available, I wouldn't mind having a few office hours if that was an option. Yes.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, for our next question, we'll begin with Hilda. For incumbents, what were the 3 most significant accomplishments of the board during your tenure? For non-incumbents, what decisions by the board did you disagree with that led you to run? Sorry about that. That led you to run. Should I do that question again?
Yes.
Okay. For incumbents, what were the 3 most significant accomplishments of the board during your tenure? For non-incumbents, what decisions by the board did you disagree with that led you to run? Hilda.
Okay, I have so many programs that I'm proud of since I've been on the board. And I think I'll start with the first one that I know I personally had a major impact on, and that was bringing one-to-one education to the city of Fullerton. There's a lot of debate about whether young children should be doing technology at that time. And we've implemented, during COVID, how nice that we had it implemented so strong and so well so that we could immediately flex to online learning. Second of all, I'd like to talk about dual language immersion. I'm very proud that we finally put in Spanish and Korean dual language immersion. It's what we need in this day and age. And last of all, we have so many programs. We have safety, we have health. It's all very important. But parents have choice of where they can send their children to school. And I think that is essential. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel, do you need me to repeat the question?
No,
Okay, you're up.
I almost grabbed my water right there. One of the accomplishments was being able to refinance 2 of our redevelopment bonds to be able to save taxpayers' dollars. That was one of the things that I spearheaded as well too. Also in 2021, I made sure that a lot of our schools, especially our Title I schools, had access to science camps. That was one of the questions that I brought up, and making sure that our Title I students had access to science camps. And through the help of the Education Foundation and other grants and other innovative ways that principals found funding to be able to attend either a 1-day or a 2-day science camp. The third thing is our Performance Sports Academy, being one of the first public school districts to be able to offer this program at the district is one of the most amazing things and accomplishments I believe I've done even within the last 6 months. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I think I got it.
Okay, you're on.
One of the major things that made me run for the school is achievement gaps. Now, the south of Fullerton, let me give you just an example. Last spring, district staff notified ELAC during one of my meetings that the school had been flagged, the district had been flagged for over-identifying Latino children to be having learning disabilities. And given that we have 54% of FSD, 54% of our FSD students are Latino, 80% live on District 5, 80% live on District 5. And this is an issue that disproportionately affects District 5 schools, which is in my district, and the incumbent has yet once ever talked about it in our school board meetings, which are the ones that I attend regularly. So that is one of the biggest main issues that made me want to run for school. Also, parent participation. I feel like some of our parents in DLAC have to stop.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, James, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, ma'am.
Okay.
So there are 3 things that I think I would have a little bit of issue with. First, parents have been complaining about the quality of school meals for a long time. I don't think it's a binary choice that we have to have healthy or tasty. I think we can have healthy and tasty. And we should have trustees that focus on issues that impact our kids every day. Second, an elementary school or a Whistler school, K through 8, near me, recently had to ask their parents to fund a sunshade for the playground. We should not have to rely on the generosity of individual contributions so our children can play safely in the shade. Third, I would not consider the Performance Academy, where we give public school property to a private contractor to charge families up to $1,000 a month, a home run, if you will. In fact, I think public school property should be used for public school children, and we should not be forcing kids who cannot afford to pay private companies that kind of money to play alongside families who can, and separating the haves from the have-nots. So those are 3 things that I would have issue with.
Thank you, James.
Are we allowed to correct something?
So you could, yes, so the answer is you have your 1 minute that comes up and you can use part of that to correct something, or you can also address it in your closing statement. How you use your time is up to you. You're welcome. Okay. Leonel. Right. What will FSD do if Measure L and N fell?
Measure N?
Measure, my question says Measure L and N, and I'm not from here, so I don't know, remember? That's why you like me. Let's just say Measure N if Measure L's not a thing.
Yeah.
Okay. What will you do?
Measure N is elementary, the Measure L is the high school district, so.
Your elementary.
Yeah.
What will Fullerton School District then if Measure N fails?
Yeah, I think we have to be able to find creative ways to be able to align some of our budget line items to be able to figure out how to be able to maintain and even build some of our current infrastructure that's failing us Again, also knowing that our schools are very, very old, anywhere from 50 to 70 years old. Maple just turned 100. Orangethorpe's pretty much up there in age. I know it's moved around a little bit. Woodcrest turned 80 years old about 3 years ago. So we got to be able to find creative ways to be able to move some of the line items in that budget, that general fund, to be able to help support and maintain. Also to be able to create some interesting ways to generate revenue by being able to renting out our public spaces to entities that could generate some revenue. Thank you.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
I think it's important that we pass Measure N. Our kids need it. Public education is everyone's concern, and I believe that if Measure N does not pass, we are definitely going to have to get creative, because we do need funding, and we're going to have to look for grants, look into the state, seek other ways to be able to fix our schools, because as a business owner myself, I would be happy to pay a little bit extra so that our children have working toilets, so that our children have AC on a heat wave, and so that our children don't have ceiling tiles falling on their head when they're in the classroom. So I believe it's important, and that is why we need to advocate for Measure N. Our schools need it, our children need it.
Thank you. James?
Yeah, so if ceiling tiles are falling on our children's head, if our children can't study in the heat because they lack facilities with air conditioning, or if they can't play in the playground because it's too hot, this is a reflection on the performance of the incumbents, because the budget is a reflection of values. Capital improvements are expensive, but they have to be budgeted for over time. Between my opponent and I, only one of us has been in the seat for 28 years. Who has been budgeting for the capital improvements? Why are we so reliant on the voters to come rescue us again? I'm concerned about that.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
Like everyone else, N has to pass to help our facilities. I want to make a correction. All of our schools have air conditioning, and so that's really important to know. If N doesn't pass, things will go as they are now. We take some money every year from general fund to help support parts of our infrastructure that need improvement. It's Band-Aids. It's Band-Aids. But we do it because we only have so much money to run a school district. And it's really important to do the education piece. And we have a lot of commitments about the state bailing us out. The state doesn't give us money for extra money for such things. If we pass the bond, we have the opportunity to match funds with the state. And if we don't have funds to match, we won't get matching funds from the state. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Next question, we start with Vanessa. What are your thoughts on the new FSD Elite Sports Academy that has been implemented?
I have my notes here on FSD.
Is there notes? You have your thoughts, right? You can put your notes on here just in case. Did anybody else bring notes?
Yeah, we're allowed to bring notes.
You are? Okay. All right, are there notes in the notes for the rules you can bring notes?
Okay, you just can't use the phone.
Okay,
You can't use the phone, but you can bring notes.
my apologies. Okay.
So I'm in favor of sports, but I do have some concerns about the Sports Academy. The Performance Academy at Parks Junior High is a program for elite athletes that uses our public school facilities to offer private sports training via private vendor for families who are willing to pay the price of $1,000 a month. Here's some concerns. These kind of privatization initiatives are a slippery slope given the proliferation of charter schools through Orange County. Any kind of privatization of our public schools makes me concerned. The price tag makes it inaccessible to most families. And given the other challenges facing District 5 school, it baffles me that this is the only thing my incumbent has proposed.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
The Performance Academy is a distraction and shouldn't be a priority, and I'm concerned that that's what we allowed the administration to do. We have much more pressing concerns like COVID learning loss that we should be focusing the administration's attention on. There's already a lot of talk about how much the Performance Academy costs. You're going to hear about how scholarships were promised. Wait and see. Right? But at the end of the day, we gave away public land to a private entity that's going to make money off of it. My opponent also compared the special needs of performance athletes, right? People with athletic promise, to children with individualized needs and special needs. I don't think that's an apt comparison. On the one hand, we have kids that have special needs and disabilities that we need to help get the same quality, strong public education. On the other hand, we have extracurricular activities that we are mortgaging public land for. It certainly should not be a priority of the Fullerton School District.
Thank you. Hilda?
Wow, we have strong opinions on this. First of all, the Performance Academy gives scholarships to students who qualify through free and reduced lunch. It's a large percentage of our students. That means that what we call elite athletes, an elite athlete is anyone on a special athletic team by definition, not a high bar. Those students, for the first time in their life, can have professional coaches teaching them. We do have one group that uses Parks Junior High 4 days a week. That's true, and they pay us some money for that. But we have many sports academies for things like K-pop dance, for basketball, volleyball, football. Nobody has to attend the program at Parks Junior High. And I think actually it's 3 days a week. So I'm proud that we are now offering students who could not afford private coaching, free private coaching.
Thank you, Hilda. Your time is up.
Okay.
Leonel?
Finally, time to let all the rumors set aside. So the Performance Academy is not a giving away free fields to an entity. Basically what the Sports Academy is you're front loading your education, allowing the student to be able to go train from 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock in the afternoon at their choice of academy that they want to go be at. Again, K-pop, tennis, golf, individualized sports, team sports, whatever it may be. All it is independent studies through PE and one of their electives, and you're front-loading their education and allowing them to go train at these facilities from 1 to 3 o'clock. That's pretty much what it is. We're not giving away anything. We have an MOU with one of the organizations that rents out the fields, just like we do to the Fullerton Rangers, just like we do to Little Leagues, East Fullerton Little League, to any other partner organization. We have that MOU, and we're actually generating revenue from our fields this year, which actually brought in $200,000.
Thank you, Leonel. Your
Thank
time
you.
is up. Okay, next question. We go back to James at the beginning of the line. Mental health is a national and local level challenge in our schools. What new ideas would you bring to make sure that we are addressing the mental health needs of our kids?
Yeah, as was previously mentioned, a lot of the families in our Fullerton School District previously qualified for free and reduced lunch. So there is a significant need among certain families in the district. In my day job, I work for the Orange County Social Services Agency, where I'm proud to lead efforts to make sure that all families, all residents of Orange County, regardless of documentation status, regardless of their background, can qualify for free or low-cost health insurance, otherwise known as Medi-Cal, federally known as Medicaid. We know that families that have health insurance are going to be healthier and better and stronger members of the community. They'll perform better and stronger at school, and through health insurance, they can get a wide variety of services: vision, dental, and mental health services. So rather than slapping Band-Aids on them through the school system, I would encourage families to work with the school district, with the Orange County Social Service Agency, to sign up and get their free or low-cost health insurance known as Medi-Cal.
Thank you, James. Hilda, do you need me to repeat the question? Okay. Okay.
Fullerton School District has, for most of our inner city schools, a relationship called the community schools. Those schools have 4 pillars to support family and health and education and extended learning hours. We work with Hazel Health for free for telehealth. We work with Bracken's Kitchen for food. We provide an encore program that's sort of famous after school. We provide classes through the Chargers for all children who need them. So we are working really hard to provide services for our students. After COVID, we hired 23 new counselors to service our 20 schools because we were very serious about protecting the mental health of students and staff. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Sure. Mental health is a national and local level challenge in our schools. What new ideas would you bring to make sure that we are addressing the mental health needs of our kids?
Yeah, so definitely with the Communities in Schools program and using Care Solace, definitely the partnership that we have with St. Jude Hospital in providing some of the psychologists at some of our school sites, especially our Title I schools. I think one of the new things that I think I would really like to see is how do we get the students engaged and involved, and not just for Mental Health Awareness Month, but throughout the whole school year. I think ultimately that's one of the things to be able to understand where the kids are and really making mental health something really relatable for them and having the opportunity to be able to have a kind of like a peer-to-peer mentor component to it and not just it being service-oriented and kind of from that top-down approach. Again, a lot of the organizing work that I did was really grassroots, so you want to really engage those that are being impacted. And I think providing that opportunity for students to be able to engage and have a peer-to-peer component would be really amazing to see.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I think I think I got it.
Okay.
I feel like the district is doing a fantastic job in bringing in community schools, Hazel Health, and having counselors in our district. But the need far exceeds what we have available. And I would really like to have the district invest in fully trained, highly experienced mental health professionals, whether they're full psychologists or staff counselors, that can address the mental health needs of our children, because I am hearing that we have really high turnover in our district, and that is because we just have too many children that really need mental health, and we are not taking care of it. So I would love to be able to have, again, I know it comes down to funding, but I would love to be able to have the resources to have mental health for all of our children in the district.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, next question, and this time we start with Hilda. Under what conditions would you support charter schools in Fullerton School District?
I'm really proud that we have 20 schools, an independent study school, and an online school. People like our schools. Charter schools come in where there are issues. And there are issues which I would support for charter schools. Schools that totally fail education, schools that are dirty, schools that are unsafe, and the districts are not taking care of. I could see putting that into a charter school and allowing another thought to organize the school. On the other hand, I want you to be aware, I'm aware, in this nation, 1/3 of our schools fail students. And in this nation, 1/3 of charter schools fail children. It's not the answer for everything. But there are situations where I would agree that it might be of benefit to a community. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
Would definitely never support charter schools. I think all our schools provide opportunity for our students and our parents and our families, and I think that's what makes our district really great. We don't shy away from being innovative and different in bringing new programs and ways of learning. That I think that's why charter schools haven't tried to make a way into Fullerton school districts. I know in 2014 there was some chatter about potentially some charter schools trying to come in to Fullerton, and that's kind of when I started getting engaged as well too. And it's really great to be able to see that there is parent choice here at FSD. And again, with a lot of innovative programs that we have, it shows that we won't need charter schools to come into Fullerton.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa.
I do not support the privatization of public goods. So I do not support for-profit private schools. I believe we have a great district. We have an open district. We have great schools. And we have so many options for parents. And I know the incumbent just said he does not agree with privatizing charter schools and doing anything with charter schools, but he did propose and voted for the privatization of public education. So that to me is a red flag.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
I oppose charter schools. Under no conditions would I support the formation of charter schools in Fullerton School District. For those that you don't know, one of the primary defining features of a charter school would be to cede responsibility as a school board trustee. We would put the administration and oversight of that charter school away from the school board's responsibilities. That's not what leaders do.
Thank you. Okay, next question. This time we begin with Leonel. This is from the audience. As a person of color, diversity and the voices of people of color are important. How do you propose Fullerton School District elevate and highlight the marginalized communities of FSD?
Strongly worded question right there, because I think marginalized is you're putting labels on people, and I think that's not what we should be doing as a school district, is putting label on people. I think we do have a diverse group of folks at Fullerton School District, but to say that they're marginalized or that they're unrepresented, I think kind of puts a label on folks. We at FSD provide opportunity for people to feel a sense of belonging, a sense of trust, and as someone that had worked for Groundswell, a human rights organization, for 2 years, oversaw an anti-hate campaign throughout Orange County. We all understand that we all have biases, and we got to understand when they come out that we have to identify that and be able to understand how to maneuver and how to move forward through that. But I think to have the question really worded in that sense of being marginalized, diversity is always a good thing, but to say that someone's marginalized or underserved,
Thank you, Leonel.
thank you.
Vanessa?
Can you repeat the question, please?
Yes. As a person of color, diversity and the voices of people of color are important. How do you propose the Fullerton School District elevate and highlight the marginalized communities of FSD?
I believe it's important for all of our students, parents, and teachers to have the training necessary and to be culturally, I guess that could be the word, culturally prepared. And we have so many different cultures in our district. And I believe it's important that we are able to cater to each and every single one of them. But we do have to learn ourselves. We have to be educated in culture because it's very important. It is sad when I hate the word marginalized. It really is a strong word. It really is a strong word. So I would be open to learning more about families, meeting with families, and trying to figure out how we can collectively and collaboratively help these
Vanessa.
families.
Thank you. James, do you need me to repeat the question? Okay.
So I think this very race represents the essence of that question. Ever since we shifted to district elections, we had a more diverse board, we had a younger board. Working families can now run for a smaller district, right? They can afford to run that kind of campaign. They can better reflect their communities. My part of town, West Fullerton, Northwest Fullerton, is roughly 50% Asian, where about 1 in 3 households are Korean. When I was growing up, a lot of local politicians would stop by our schools to read books to us and take pictures. And I always asked my dad why there were never any Koreans, and he told me there was never gonna be one. I aim to change that, to better represent the Korean family, so that when the Korean parents have issues, even though you are representing all of them, as a Korean American member representing the Korean American community that helps make Fullerton a stronger, richer city, that our voices will be heard and not ignored, not silenced and not marginalized.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
I received an award from the Orange County Human Relations Commission, which is now Brownswell, for my work with the Korean community at Sunny Hills. It was an emerging community. I brought it together. I started programs for Koreans, including the Korean Parent Support Group. I got an award from the Korean Parent Organization for my work with the Korean parents. I worked very hard to get Korean language dual immersion in our schools. So I listen to Koreans. I have a lot of Korean supporters. Currently, our school district does DLAC to bring people together who are of minorities, and we have block parties. Schools implement things to help their minority parents, like at Maple, the former principal started a huge Dias de los Muertos program, and the Latino people came and said, "Oh my God, we didn't even know that much about the holiday."
Thank you,
Thank
Hilda. Okay, next question. This time we start with Vanessa. How will you support not only district admin, but also the teachers, nurses, and counselors of Fullerton School District?
It is important that we advocate, as I've said, for every single person in our district. If it wasn't for our teachers, for our administrators, and our nurses, the school wouldn't run. As I told them millions of times, they are the backbone of our schools. If not, it's just a building. So I would love to be able to meet with them, as I have told our teachers before, as well as our CSCA. I would love to collaborate. I would love to meet with them so that we can come up with a solution to be able to help them. Have open communication. Let us know what it is that you need, because if something is not working, we need to fix it. And you don't get anywhere by not asking any questions. If you don't ask questions, you don't get the answers. So I would love to collaborate with our teachers. I would love to collaborate with our staff and come up with their needs.
Thank you, Vanessa.
So we can help.
Okay, James?
Yeah, so there are actually two things that I think I can do to help improve the quality of life and the working conditions of staff, not just the teachers, but also classified staff. First, before every board meeting, I think it's important to reach out to stakeholders. So reach out to teachers, reaching out to classified staff, and going, hey, did you see this item? What's your take on this item? I want to hear your perspective before I go into that board meeting. So making affirmative engagements with these unions and these organizations excuse me, is a good step. Second, I think just pushing back on the administration. I think for too long, the incumbents have allowed the administration to get away with a lot without significant pushback. And I think maybe that's because they've gotten too comfortable, and I think a fresh perspective would offer an opportunity for teachers and staff to raise concerns without being filtered out or being ignored. So I think those are at least two things that I can do.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
I have a long list. First of all, I speak to custodians and M&O before I vote on items, and they can tell you I phoned, did this job get done well? I go to the kitchen for holiday parties for maintenance. I attend them. If it's a potluck, I bring food. If it's a gift exchange, I bring a gift and participate. If it's bus drivers having their barbecue 3 times a year, I'm right there. I go to the kitchen at 6:30 in the morning to see what they're cooking and to learn that they are now doing fresh stirred fried foods in our schools. And I believe in listening to all of our staff, not just administration. And I'm offended being told that I am blasé to the jobs of our superintendents, because I think our entire board holds them tightly in control for following the directions of the board, and we evaluate seriously our superintendent. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Okay, for the next question, we're back at James again. Oh, did I mess up? Wait, no, sorry. Oh, sorry. I checked
Extra
all
30
the
seconds. Because I also have a long list.
boxes. My bad.
Bonus time.
No.
Bonus time. You almost skipped me. No, I'm playing. That's okay. Ongoing listening components. I think I'm a firm believer in having informal conversations, seeing people where they're at. So really not kind of going to them, but really kind of going to where they're at, and making sure that there's a work-life balance as well too. Getting to know them also on a personal level. So if you know maybe there's a dip in performance, it's maybe not their actual professional performance. There might be something happening at home. So getting to know them on a personal level as well too. So yeah, just true firm believer to meet them where they're at and making sure that we really truly understand kind of how things are going throughout the whole district. But informal conversations are always the best because that's where people provide you a lot of the insight. Not to schedule a meeting with them and have them have their notes ready to take down, or have something kind of scheduled to just kind of meet them where they're at, and really a firm believer on that. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. My apologies again. Won't happen.
It's okay. Bonus time.
No such thing as perfect, right? Okay, so now, James, new question. What are your thoughts on FSD's current sex ed curriculum, which includes education on gender identity and diversity, and do you support this?
So I think having scientifically informed and inclusive sex education is an important part to prevent child abuse. In the social services world, that we know that when children understand what is happening to their bodies, they are less likely to be abused by perpetrators. When children don't understand what's happening, when they're confused, when they're ashamed, they are more susceptible to the overtures of sexual predators. So making sure that our sex education is scientifically, medically accurate, and inclusive of all the things that the kids might be going through is one of the best ways we can prevent child sexual abuse.
Thank you. Hilda?
This is a complicated question because on one hand, we will follow the state mandates that's required of us, and that covers exactly what my colleague James has said. On the other hand, we have parents who feel that they have rights also, and that they want a say in the education of their children regarding sex ed. So we have the ability in our school district for parents to opt out if that is not what they want. And I think, again, parents' choice and family values is very important. And I do want to protect children from predators, but I want also to protect the rights of families. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
Yeah, no, definitely. I think really supporting both the student and the parents in this fact. I think again the opportunity to be able to opt out from this type of curriculum is really important to me because again it gets the parent choice, and it also provides the student the choice to be able to opt out of this. Again, also where there's restrictions that we got to be able to provide this from the state, so you got to be able to support this as well too.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa?
I definitely support the comprehensive curriculum of sex ed. Not only does it provide students with education about their body, exactly what James said, but I also feel like it's important. I'm 100% with parents that do not want to take this class because they have the right and we have to respect it. But I also believe it's important that we educate parents in the importance of their children having this class, because it's important, and a lot of times it's miscommunication, and a lot of times parents don't understand what this class is about. But it's important that we educate our children, but also I don't want to say educate our parents, but make them aware of what this class entails and why it's important for us to be teaching our children about their body.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, now we start with Hilda. How do you see the implementation of AI and technology advancements in Fullerton School District?
Those who know me see my smile. I believe that we have to adjust to changing worlds, and AI is here to stay. There are many very positive things to AI. I was recently at St. Jude meeting where a brain surgeon, I guess, who works on strokes, said that when he has a patient come into the ER with a stroke, by the time it gets to his cell phone to tell him to get to the ER for emergency, they've already told him how to operate, where it is, and how dangerous it is. AI in the classroom is here. We're going to teach children how to use it effectively and honestly, and it's going to be a hard thing to make sure that every teacher understands how to use AI so that they're not afraid of it, because this is the 21st century and we can't put it back in the bottle. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
So definitely we got to be able to show the responsibility and be kind of the leaders in and outside of the classroom when it comes to AI. Again, it's an innovative tool, and again, we're evolving as a society, so we just got to be able to provide kind of something to really kind of track moving forward to make sure that we're providing the right and the most responsible ways to be able to use this technology, both for our students and then both for our parents.
Thank you. Vanessa?
I think innovation is important, and I like that we do have AI in our schools because our children are able to learn in different ways, and it is catered to their learning abilities. But also, I have huge red flags when it comes to AI, because we have to have citizenship. I can't get the word out, but we do have to be careful, and we have to have a lot of safeguards when our children are using AI, because it's very dangerous. We have a lot of cyberbullying happening in technology, and we have to be able to control it. So I am 100% for using technology in our schools, as long as it is in a safe environment and done responsibly.
Thank you. James?
The school district just banned cell phones, and it's concerning to me that the incumbents are in a rush to incorporate AI into our classrooms. It's obvious that technology is a tool, and it can be used for good and ill, and it needs to be deliberately and carefully incorporated into our curriculum, especially because a lot of private companies out there are more than happy to sell you expensive contracts that will drain the resources of the district, all in the altar of innovation. So we have to be careful about how we incorporate new technologies. An example of this is the incumbent led an initiative about 15 years ago to get laptops for all the families. Would have cost certain families $1,500. Eventually, the district got sued. So haste made waste in that instance, and we need to be careful about how we incorporate technology in our classrooms.
Thank you, James. Okay, for our next question, we start with Leonel. I'm right this time, right? If you are not elected, how are you going to use the unused funds? It's not a campaign. Campaign funds. Yeah.
However I can, I don't know. Yeah, donate them maybe to the organization, help support some of our schools somehow. I don't know. Never thought about that. No intent of losing.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
I'm going to be quite honest with you. I don't think I'm going to have any funds left in my campaign. However, if I did have any funds left over, I would love to donate them to the teachers union, because I believe they have a lot. They can use the funds for whatever resources and whatever needs they have in the classroom. One of the biggest things that I have been asked as I am canvassing is, why are teachers still having to pay for their own pencils, their own utensils, their own classroom pens, papers? Why? And that is the biggest question that I have. Why? Why are the teachers still having to take money out of their pocket to have to pay for things for our children? It's the $1,000,000 question, and I would really like to know.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa.
Yeah, so as it stands now, I'm actually asking for more donations. So if there's anybody out there that's willing to elect a first-time candidate, I'm all yours. But if there are leftover funds, I'll just make publicly this commitment right now. I'll distribute it evenly across the 5 school PTAs that are in my trustee area. So we got Parks, we got Fistler, we got Sunset, we got Furman, we got Laguna. I'll get it all.
Thank you, Hilda.
I could use money if someone can donate. I don't know if I'll have any money at all left over. Campaigning is expensive, very expensive. And I am sorry that teachers use their private money. If we could only get the state somehow to have the funds to support our education properly, maybe that wouldn't happen. It is a very sad thing that that happens. I would donate money to the district for sure, maybe to a tiny house that's very dear to me, except I wouldn't do it just to the 5 schools in my district. As a representative on the school board, I represent 20 schools and not just 5. And I think it's really important for a board member to have the perspective that we have to be fair and equal to all of our schools and listen to everybody who contacts us. Thank you.
Thank you, Hilda. Okay, for this next question, we start with Vanessa. If you had a magic wand, what would you do to fix at Fullerton School District?
That's a good one. If I had a magic wand, I think my number 1 would be fixing equity in our schools. I would want the north of Fullerton to be, in the south of Fullerton, to be equal. I know it's hard because the south of Fullerton needs a lot more resources than the north of Fullerton already has, but I would really push for equity. 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 In our school district.
James?
Magic wand, if you give me a magic wand, it's got to be class sizes. The California Teachers Association recommends that class sizes be 20. I'm a Sunset Lane parent, and I see numbers around 30, higher than that, so 50% higher than the recommended class size. How are kids supposed to learn? What are teachers supposed to do when we have behavioral issues in class? Magic wand time? Give me some more class sizes.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
If I had a magic wand, oh my God, the world would be perfect. But I don't. If I did though, I agree on class size, but my research tells me that class size at 15 and 16 makes a huge difference. Class size at 20 or 22 isn't that much different than class size at 27. It's more work for the teacher, but in learning, it isn't as effective. So I would bring class size down to 15 and want all of our students to have all of their needs met by whatever program best suits their learning. Thank you.
Yeah?
You guys are all gonna love this one. Traffic flow. I wish our schools would be a lot bigger and have a lot more accessible parking and traffic flow circles at our schools, so we did not have all the backups that we have on Valencia, all the backups that we have on Baker, all the backups that we have on Richmond. That would be one of them. Ultimately, facilities. Making sure that all our schools look amazing and they look like the 21st century. So Measure N needs to pass so we can make sure that all of our facilities look amazing and it's our second home for our kids.
Thank you. Okay, we're back to James. How do you feel bullying and social media fueled fights should be addressed? Do you support on-campus police for security?
Yeah, so for on-campus police force for security, I think that's a necessary component, but not the magic panacea cure-all solution. I think we need to support our teachers who are trying to tell the administrators, we've got a problem here, and oftentimes are not being listened to. I think we need to have parents given some resources on how to talk to their children that have technology that they didn't certainly grow up with. And so I think that's why it's important we elect a working parent who has a kid going through school now. My opponent is not going to have a son who's being bullied. I will have a son that's being bullied. My opponent is not going to have a son who has to experience social media and AI and see some of the deep fakes that's going to go on social media. My son will. So I think that's one of the many reasons why we have to elect a working parent to represent our district.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
Would you read that?
Yes. How do you feel bullying and social media fueled fights should be addressed? Do you support on-campus police for security?
Bullying has been an issue since the start of time. It is there, and we have to figure out how to deal with it better. Our schools have kindness weeks. We have all sorts of things. I think one of the first things we have done as a school board is to limit cell phone use from bell to bell. It's an important thing to cut down on bullying at school and taking pictures and things like that. And I'm very proud that we've done that. I happen to have 6 wonderful grandchildren, all shapes and sizes, and I will tell you, I hear about bullying adventures all the time, and we talk about at the dinner table how to address these types of issues and how to report them to the school. On our school site, there's a big thing that says, report bullying, and believe me, our district knows we want to move right on that.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel? You need me to read the question again.
Yeah, can you please?
Yes. How do you feel bullying and social media fueled fights should be addressed? Do you support on-campus police for security?
Yeah, definitely. So bullying and social media fights at school campuses, I believe should be addressed through restorative practices. I think that's just one of the ways to be able to kind of get down to the root causes of what's happening with the individuals that are participating in the fights. So I think restorative practices are always one of the good ways to be able to do that, whether it's interventions one-on-one or in a group setting or circles, restorative circles. And I do support having school resource officers on site. I think one of the elements that we need to bring to this is making sure that the resource officer is providing ways to really build relationships and meaningful relationships with our students and staff. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
Yes, bullying has always been an issue, and cell phones were exacerbating that bullying and cyberbullying, and that is one of the reasons why I spoke at a school board meeting, and I asked the current school board members to please listen to their community, who was there also to speak on behalf of the violence that was happening and the bullying that was being made accessible by cell phones. I asked them to please consider banning cell phones, and which is what we did, and I'm so happy that they did that. In regards to resource officers, I don't think they're always the answer, because statistically, resource officers will always punish, if that is the word, students of color, and that is statistically written. So I don't think I agree with having resource officers at the school, but maybe parent volunteers, I believe, would be more adequate.
Thank you, Vanessa.
Okay.
Okay, next question. This time we begin with Hilda. It's been mentioned that many programs that Fullerton School District offers, it's been mentioned that these programs are offered, but did not mention that many of these programs are paid programs. How will you make these programs accessible to all? Let me reread that.
Yeah.
I'm doing my best. It's been mentioned that many programs, let's just rephrase that, shall we? It seems like they're saying there's been a mention of programs that Fullerton School District does offer, but we haven't mentioned about how these programs are paid programs. So what will you do to make these programs accessible to all?
Good question.
Yeah, are there programs?
It's not a parents have to pay for programs.
That's not one of our programs. That money doesn't come to our schools.
Is, okay, so me not being here, is this question not clear? Okay,
Encore program's free.
okay. Let's skip this question because it's not clear, and then if the person who submitted it wants to rewrite it to be clear. Okay, let's do another one. What will you do to better serve and improve the experiences, both academic and social, of the neurodivergent students in Fullerton schools? Yes. What will you do to better serve and improve the experiences, both academic and social, of the neurodivergent students in Fullerton schools?
We've already started working a lot on that. First of all, we have co-teach classes where students from special ed programs and their aides and their teacher work in a classroom with our general education students. And this goes on in, I think we have 6 programs that have that. And it's mostly for mild to moderate issues. We have playgrounds that have all been redone wherever there are special ed classrooms that make the playing accessible for all students and the turf safe for all students. So recess is for all students together to play. We have social times where children go to other classrooms to work with other teachers. And I see it at LV, I see it in a lot of schools. And we are working hard for fuller inclusion students to have the aids they need in the classroom to perform.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel, do you need me to repeat the question?
No, I got it, yeah.
Okay.
So definitely seeing the buddy program at Woodcrest Elementary. Again, with their playground being ADA accessible. So there's different ways that some of those schools, not all schools, find innovative ways to do that. I mean, I'm not going to repeat what Hilda said, but to echo what she said. But I just know about the buddy program and then the buddy benches at Woodcrest Elementary. So yeah, different ways that we're doing co-teaching as well too.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa?
Yes, I did have the buddy benches on my notes. That is something that I believe every school has or should have to make sure that we are inclusive, because inclusion in every school is important, but also making sure that we have the resources, making sure that all of our aides are getting the training necessary for them to be able to help our children. Because to me, it's important having a daughter with an IEP to be able to have parents advocate for these children and to make sure that our schools have the resources that are necessary for them to be able to learn and thrive just like any other child in our schools and in our district. So resources, making sure that we have everything that our children are going to need.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
I think one thing we can do as trustees is make the administration pay closer attention to this issue. And I'm concerned by what the candidate Vanessa Estrella raised about racial disparities among certain diagnoses. And one of the reasons why I'm concerned about it is because I spoke to a constituent who said that she had raised concern that her children might be in need of certain individualized plans and was brushed off. And so she advocated for earlier standardized screening across the board, which might get rid of the disparities. And so I think the school board of trustees can do a better job of shedding light on this issue.
Okay, thank you. Now this question, we begin with Leonel. My 4-year-old child in TK uses an iPad at school every day, and I have no idea for how long he's on it. He has also shown TV shows during indoor lunch, some of which I don't consider appropriate for his age. How will you make sure that teachers are implementing the use of screens responsibly and sparingly? And are there policies in place to monitor this?
So yes, there's policies and procedures put in place to be able to monitor our digital citizenship throughout the whole district as a whole. when it comes to what's being taught inside the classroom. Again, we give full autonomy to our teachers to be able to do what they feel is best for their class settings. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Vanessa?
I think that we really need to evaluate how much time our children are using the tablet at school. For example, I just went to an open house with my daughter, and her math teacher told me that everything they do is in their tablet. Not with pen and paper, like we all do, it's in their tablet. And we have to evaluate and we have to make sure that our children are using their tablets sparingly and they're not just using it to have fun or to hang out or to do. I still believe in the pen and paper for education. And like I said, I am pro using technology and AI, but responsibly and with time limits, definitely with time limits. And if they're saying that it's up to the teacher, then we have to make sure that the teachers are following the rules of the school district.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
This is exactly what I'm talking about. It's not enough to splash the cash and buy the device and declare mission accomplished. Technology has to be a means to an end, not an end in and of itself. It's obvious that we have problems, the teachers are struggling, that the parents don't have any idea what's happening with the technology being incorporated in their classrooms. And this is, again, another reason why we have to elect a working parent on the school board. Because if you're a parent and you have concerns, who can you trust to go to? Who can you go to? Who can you trust? Who do you know will understand what you're going through right now as you're trying to navigate the tablet going, I have no idea how to figure out what is in this thing, what my child is exposed to. You're going to go to someone that talks the language that you talk, that it drops off the kid the same time you drop off your kid, that is in the same PTA meetings and the same foundation events that you are. It's one of the reasons why we have to elect a working parent now.
Thank you, James. Hilda?
I have concerns about tablet use in primary grades. As a matter of fact, I discovered something at the CES convention in Vegas on my dollar for digital, non-digital use. It's called a Tony. It's for children to record things and play them back for stories. We find things with Raptor technology where children read stories in a book and they make pictures and they put it in front of the technology and their picture becomes part of the book. I believe in digital citizenship as an integral part of teaching. I also believe technology is important. It teaches a child who's been in this country a week, starting in February, doesn't know the alphabet, doesn't know the language. We can put them to learn the alphabet, we can teach them sounds, and it's very effective. And yes, that child may be on that quite a long time. Thank you.
Thank you. For the next question, Vanessa. AB 1955 recently banned forced outing. What are your thoughts on this law?
This is a very hard question because as a school board, we have to follow the law. So we have to do what the state tells us. And I believe we have the responsibility of the student to make sure that they are safe, to make sure that they are respected in the way that they want to be called, he, she. I also believe that parents have rights, but our job in the school district is to protect the children, and we have to follow what the law says. So I am 100% in agreement with following that new law.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
Yeah, time and time again, research shows that the number one factor in a child's academic performance or just well-being in school is the parents. Parents are the number one influence and the number one role model and influencer in a child's development, right? So we don't want to get in the way of that. Also, I'm not interested in wading into the culture war that try to divide and put a wedge between teachers and parents. If our kids are going to succeed, we need teachers and parents to work together. The teachers do not have time to be the gender police, and I have no time for people who are going to lie about what our teachers are doing at schools. I want people to leave the kids alone.
Thank you. Hilda?
The law is the law. We have to follow the law. The problem with the law is it has no flexibility in it. When people pass laws, they don't understand all the time the ramifications those laws create. This is one of those serious laws. I totally believe in the family structure, and it's really important for the family to be able to understand what their child's going through. There are exceptions, and I believe that staff knows when they need to protect children because their job is to relate to the children in their classroom. And this is one of those instances where the state has decided to take all the flexibility and all the judgment away from the people on the local scene, and that's really, really not good.
Thank you, Hilda. Leonel?
Yeah, so definitely the law is a law, and we, as a school district, have to abide by that, whether it's ed code or legislation that gets passed down from the state. Again, it's just one of those things that I wish, state legislators really did their homework and really talked to the community to understand kind of what's happening at the local level and how it's going to be impacting those that got to be able to implement some of these laws.
Okay, thank you. Okay, we've got time for about 2 more questions before we get to closing statement. So we're back to James. This one, I think, I'm just guessing, comes from one of our younger members here. Will you allow Girl Scouts to use our school to learn and to do activities in our NPR?
Is that Sunset Lane? Sunset Lane Girl Scout NPR? Yes. Right. Our public schools are open, right, between certain hours of the day. When they're not being open, they're a vibrant hub and a place for gathering in our communities. Why shouldn't they be used by community-based organizations like the Girl Scouts? Why can't we have a more equitable way of seeing how people can use our public facilities? Why do we have to let private companies that are interested in making money off of working families use our public facilities? Girl Scouts would be a perfect use for our public school grounds. So yes.
Thank you. Hilda? Do you need me to repeat the question? Okay.
I like the Girl Scouts. I like the Boy Scouts. I go and talk to their groups whenever I'm invited. They're delightful. Invite me, I'll come, because you have that merit badge I can help you pass. I've never heard of Girl Scouts being turned away from our schools. And I've never heard of any public organization being turned away from our schools. That would make me very sad. And if that happened, you phone me up immediately, or send me an email, or text me, because Girl Scouts are wonderful. Thank you.
Thank you. Leonel?
So definitely yes. I mean, that's what our public schools and our public facilities are used for, is for outside organizations to be able to utilize them. Again, they're used for the public. If you want to host a party, you can rent out our facilities, our multi-purpose rooms. You can use our fields. That was one of the main things that I did in 2020. In 2022 was to disband the shared joint use agreement with the city of Fullerton, because they were doing a horrible job of maintaining our fields, and we were paying them $250,000 to do nothing, pretty much. So now we've turned that around, and now we're making money, and we're generating revenue from renting out the fields to anybody that has insurance, right, and that is a 501c3, and that meets the requirements to be able to rent any of our facilities, whether it's a classroom, multi-purpose room, or our fields. So that's one of the things that I first did when I got on the school board.
Thank you. Vanessa?
The answer is yes. Who asked that question? The answer is yes. Whether it's the Daisies or the Girl Scouts, we actually have both troops in my daughter's school. And I love seeing them with their badges. I love seeing them doing a lot of things around the school. And I am true a believer that if they want to use our NPR and it is available, I don't see why there would be an issue or a problem. That's why I want to know who asked that question. I know it wasn't my kid. But yes, the answer is yes.
Okay, thank you, Vanessa. Okay, with this next question, we start with Hilda. Do you believe that parent organizations on campuses should be responsible for funding the majority of the necessities for students, such as field trips and tissue paper, lined paper, etc.?
I believe that the state of California should fund what's needed at schools. That being said, when the state stopped giving funds for field trips, I happened to be president of PTA Council at the time. We had a huge dialogue. Do PTAs pick up those funds, or do they not, and make parents so angry that they will argue with the state and maybe we'll get the money back? The bottom line was, a lot of people felt that's a really good thought, but my child will miss out, and I don't want my child to miss out, and I'm willing to raise funds. For our less affluent schools, they get more money per child than our northern schools in our district, and therefore they actually have more money to spend, and many of them have more access to grants. So most of those schools have more field trips than the schools that people call the hill schools.
Thank you,
Thank you.
Hilda. Leonel?
So I think we have to understand that there's a certain amount of dollars that we get as a school district from the state. Right? We have to be able to pay our teachers. We have to be able to pay our staff. It is really unfortunate that there's parent groups that have to raise money in order to be able to send kids on a field trip. Right? But inevitably, that's what's happening. All right? So we got to be creative in the way that a school site, right, budgets its funds and makes priorities for the school site and, again, for the academic enrichment of our students. We just got to find creative ways. We got to be able to create amazing local partnerships with local businesses and fundraising opportunities and make it really a hand up and not a handout. So thank you.
Okay, thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
Just to address really quick what Hilda said, yes, our District 5 and our Title I schools do get more funding, but they also, the money that is coming in is for English language learners, and it's coming in from low-income families. They also need more resources. So the money that's coming in for schools is not for field trips. As a PTA mom and leader, and as an the ELAC president at our school, we fundraise because we want our children to be able to attend these field trips. And if we don't have the money, I don't think it should be the responsibility of either the PTA or the ELAC to be able to raise these funds. The schools should be able to provide that for us. But we do it wholeheartedly because we want our kids to be able to attend these places. So yes, Title I schools do get more funding, but it's not for field trips.
Thank you, Vanessa. James?
Again, we should not have to count on the generosity of parents who contribute their time and money so our kids can go to school. So I'm going to try to keep the anger out of my voice here. But I know there are people in this audience that donate that time and their money to ensure that our kids can go to field trips. That is why it is frustrating that we would have the superintendent of our school district emailing our principals and our teachers to tell the PTAs and foundations to donate to my opponent's private nonprofit so that that money can be redistributed accordingly. Our parents work hard to balance their schedules with childcare and elder care to raise money. They donate their time so our kids can have fun events, and to then be coerced into making donations to a private nonprofit is only part of the problem, not the solution.
Thank you, James. Okay, so, we have so many questions and they're all good, and I'm happy to report none of them were mean. So with regret, we have to bring this to a close, and it's time for our closing statements. Each candidate will have 1 minute to wrap it up, and then we'll close out. James?
So I think if you're a resident of Trustee Area 2, you have an unenviable task in front of you. I have a great deal of respect for Mrs. Sugarman and her 28 years of service. She has raised a hell of a lot of money for our school and a hell of a lot of money for our students. She's done amazing work for the community. But as we tell our children, you can be anything you want to be. This election is an opportunity to prove it. In an area, in a part of town where we have so many Asian American students, Can we have a representative that looks like them? Can they be on the school board someday? When we tell our children that you are the future, will this election prove it? What is the future of the Fullerton School District going to look like 4 years from now? My proposal to you is that we need a working parent who has a child going through school to help guide us there. Thank you.
Thank you. Hilda?
Our schools, programs, and community relationships are truly remarkable and provide families with a variety of excellent choices. Our distinction as the best school district in North Orange County for the past 2 years highlights the efforts and vision of our entire district, and I am proud to have contributed to that achievement. If you have the vision that we should continue to be the best school district in Orange County, why would you change the leadership? I'm the most consistent person on that board, regardless of who the superintendent is or how the vision changes. I've worked in schools. My opponent, as a child who's been in our schools 2 weeks, maybe 3, and is in a paid pre-K program. I understand our school system, and I look forward to serving you with knowledge and history and innovation to protect all education. Thank you.
Hilda. Thank you. Leonel?
So one of the questions that I get asked is, why do I want to run again? And because I tell people that it's fun and it's easy. They think it's really challenging and hard. And to be honest, when you're doing this for the right reasons, it's seamless. It's super easy. I've been doing this work, outreach and engagement in South Fullerton for over 10 years. It's not hard at all. It's easy to listen to the community. It's easy to listen to the parents. And then when you see the smiling faces on those kids, it's just even that much more rewarding, right? So again, surrounding myself with educators is only one step that I'm going to be taking. My first 2 years were state mandated COVID coming out of the pandemic. So it really only took me 2 years to do some amazing work within the last 2 years. And I'm going to continue moving forward in the next 4 more years. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Leonel. Vanessa?
As a mother, small business owner, and advocate for families, I'm ready to bring a district-wide voice to our school board. I believe in the power of public education because I am the result of public education. I've seen what it can do for students like me, and I want to make sure that our district does that for every child in our schools. I am committed to advocating for the expansion of mental health resources, supporting our teachers, and collaborating with our schools to create a safe and thriving learning environment for all children and all students. I am running to be the champion our student, parents, and community needs. I am invested in my community, but I can't do it alone. I humbly ask you to support me in this race, and I feel like together we can build a bright future for our students.
Thank you, Vanessa. Okay, on this note, I'd like to say on behalf of the League of Women Voters North Orange County, I want to thank all of the candidates for participating in this forum and for running. Without these candidates, our democracy does not work. So let's give them a applause. Thank you to the candidates for taking their time to come out and answer your questions and meet with you. Thanks to our timekeepers, fantastic right over here, kept us all in line. Yeah. And thank you for our question sorters who had the tough job of getting all the questions and making them make sense. And check out our votersedge.org if you want to learn more about candidates, not just these, but everyone who is running. And pick up your Easy Voters online as well. They're available. Okay. Oh, thank you very much.